What is going on, chat? We're finally here, video number 4. I'm really excited. This video has a lot to cover. Pay attention, it's gonna go really fast. Today, we are power steering delete, custom clutch line, the alternator splitter is pretty easy, shifter install, drive shaft install, where to grind, headers, Y-pipe creation, and this is gonna go back to the factory catback flange to hopefully give you guys more exhaust options. After that, something that you guys really wanted to see was OEM Plus on the ECU. So the OEM Plus versus standalone. We actually have both in-house to show you. And lastly, wiring. Went ahead and took a lot of time to think this out over here. We kind of planned out 4 different options of how the wiring was gonna go. Guys, option number 8, ECU OEM Plus versus standalone. We're obviously gonna show you OEM Plus. We have the header plugs, all the connectors. We're gonna have a link to the connectors and header plugs on the website as a drop-down menu to give you guys what you need to purchase to do the wiring yourself. Guys, Link is awesome. They reached out after the first video and they sponsored this video. This video is brought to you by Link ECU. The GT-86 plug-and-play G5 ECU literally bolts right up into where the factory ECU sits. It connects with these 4 OEM connectors. It gives you gives you all your gauges working, AC is working, power steering is working, everything is working. You can even do traction control, strategized traction control for limited slip if you needed to. There's many different things you can do. Let's say you wanted to do E85 on your 3UZ and you didn't want to run the OEM Plus standard ECU. This is definitely the way to go. You want to throw a turbo or a supercharger on your 3UZ or 1UZ, whatever, definitely do a Link standalone ECU. This makes it super easy. This little wiring pigtail right here, this little 4-pin Deutsch connector goes out to where you can connect CAN Lambda via the CAN bus network. So all these things kind of connect to this CAN network to where you can kind of add on different things. There's so many benefits to doing this over a stock ECU. You know, OEM ECU is gonna be a lot more work to kind of get it going. It's not that much more work, but it's more work. And if you're the kind of person that has the money to kind of jump in on this, huge shout out to Andrew and George with Link ECU. Thank you guys for coming through. You guys saw this on video number 1, reached out to me, and I really appreciate you guys putting your trust that we're gonna bring value to our customers and stuff like that to make this a reality in a very short period of time. So thank you, Link. We're gonna go ahead and move on. Option 1 was more of an OEM Plus solution. This basically would have the ECU stay in the engine bay just like the SC430. The SC430 essentially has a little compartment for the non-waterproof ECU to kind of house right in the driver's side, and then the subsequent chassis wiring and everything kind of spawns off from that and then goes into whatever connectors or OEM chassis harness from there. So option 2 would use a standalone or some sort of ECU inside the cabin here. This would touch on the FRS 4 connectors. All of this would kind of seamlessly integrate with the factory wiring and then go out to the engine bay. With option number 2, we created a bespoke harness that goes from these AC1 AC2 and AB1 plugs on the FRS firewall. And Tyson Flores with Floret Motorsports was really awesome, put together a package for us and basically made us a custom harness to fit option number 2. We're gonna show you guys the OEM Plus version in this video and starting it up on that, which brings us to option number 3. Option number 3 is the hardest, but probably the best way to do it, using the OEM ECU, keeping the OEM ECU inside the engine compartment, using a jumper harness to go from the FRS 1, 2, 3, and 4 ECU plugs, and then this would essentially go into the 5 ECU plugs on the Lexus 3UZ engine. This was a massive undertaking. If you look at all these plugs here, we've detailed out every single thing, the length, the wiring, the part number, the size of the connector, the run. We did all the engineering for you guys. We thought this out in a massive amount of detail. That brings me to option number 4. Option number 4 is awesome. This is probably the quickest, easiest way to get you guys started up on this video right now so we can show you guys how it runs and whatnot. What we're doing with option number 4, if you look at the diagram here, we're essentially bypassing the AC1 and AC2 plug, and we're gonna basically make a header plug. And what this is, I actually took an ECU like this off of eBay that was known good and cut everything off of it. Desoldered the back pins, the head, just to get this header plug. No US manufacturer makes header plugs for the 3UZ. Who would have known? So I had to reach out overseas, unfortunately, but now we have them in stock and we sell them on our website. And not only that, the header plug, you only really need to use these 3 plugs right here. This is an OEM header plug from an ECU. If you look at all these solder joints right here, you can see where I actually desoldered this. They actually plug into, you only need to use these 3 connectors when extending the harness, just like that. A lot to cover on this video, but more importantly, we have done a lot of homework, a lot of data to make all of these different options kind of happen for you guys seamlessly, which brings me to the next section. All right, guys, here we have our power steering delete for the SC430 or any 3UZ or 1UZ VVTI. So then we come over here to the power steering pump here. These 4 come off with a little bit of force. It's gonna take a little bit. So these fasteners aren't used. We include new fasteners with the bolt kit. Okay, so this is then out of the way. And then our 3UZ, 1UZ power steering delete. It's already on revision 2 because we like to make sure everything's perfect before we release it. So now we're gonna go ahead and put the back section. After you clean all this off, make sure it's nice and clean. This should just fit right into this section, no problem here. Go ahead and put these in. Smaller fasteners go into the smaller side like this. Larger fasteners go into the top section here. And then you wanna secure these down pretty tight. Okay, we're back here at the chassis and we're just gonna go ahead and drop this in here, put it down, goes forward, fits right over this right here like this. And there's plenty of clearance between the coolant overflow tank and the chassis, and it just kind of slides right in just like that. All right, now you take your OEM stud nut right there and you're gonna go ahead and put that on, and you're gonna put it on loose. And then you're gonna come over here to this side right here, and those literally go through the front and back of that stock rear housing. Order of operations, small side with a recess, and then you got the bearing side. The bearing side's covered up by this OEM little washer here. This is a very specific bolt, and then it's machined for this fastener. That goes in like this. You wanna make sure it sits nice and flush before you start threading this in. Tighten it all the way up. And this is gonna be your stock torque right here. Doesn't have to be King Kong. OEM torque spec is just fine. Keep the 14 on there. We're gonna go ahead and put the belt on. This is an SC430 belt. Look at that, chat. That's the belt part number, 6PK2250. Okay guys, now we're on to number 4, shifter install. Here we got our Collins Performance Technologies remote shifter chassis-based system here. Let's go ahead and open it up. This is how it's gonna come to you. Anyway, this is how it's gonna come out. I'm gonna go ahead and take it apart real quick. This cup, base. As you can see, everything is slotted, plenty of adjustability to get your shifter perfectly aligned. It still uses reverse lockout. All your reverse lockout is kept in this system. So we're gonna dive right in and go ahead and install it. It's off. Yep, we're good. You know, universal, you can flip that around either way. It does stuff here, but as you can see, this was really hard to drill this hole. I had to order some the fitment and the large side towards the back. The reason, I'm not sure if you kind of shows you how that goes. Does that make sense now? You kind of wiggle it. It's gonna be a nice tight fit. So just like that. Boom. That's done. This is your OEM boot right here along, come on. Almost like it was made for it, you know? This kind of feeds in under within play, the FRS chat, that constant shift, the RPM range, so it might not. So far we have the linkage on first, base on second, gasket obviously in between the base and the chassis. Now we put the cup in the shifter. This is important, so we'll push it in for the correct step. With all that said, essentially how it's gonna go. And then that kind of just sits on there. Makes sense now. And the shifter to then go whichever poles you want to cut. Again, more than 26 foot-pounds. It should be less than that. And we'll show you. I'm gonna set the reverse lockout right in the middle, right there. This is how it is from the factory. And have the OEM washer, OEM cotter pin. Washer goes in like this. Doing it with the drive shaft in. Just so you can kind of see that we're basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Reverse. It's a little notchy because there's no wheel and it's not spinning, but we did it. From my perspective, we're done from the inside with respect to the shifter. I'm gonna move on. We have to grind off these 4 fasteners that stick through right here. This holds your OEM e-brake assembly on right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 have to be ground flush with the nut that's kind of in the chassis. It's actually super light, aluminum. Had this made quick. Pop this thing in real quick here. Got right in. 14mm on both sides. And this one's, you want this to be tight as you can get it with a wrench. Right? But just check the factory spec. That's what it's gonna be. All right, it's good. All right, look at that, guys. Not hitting anything, shifter's in. Moving on, custom clutch line. Had to do this because of fitment issues with the head and all that stuff. This comes in and it's routed real weird. The way that this sits is it's kind of like that, and the engine is like right here. The only caveat, you do have to grind one thing down. This is a brand new slave cylinder. We're gonna go ahead and put blue tape right here on this contact surface. We don't want anything getting in there, and we also don't want to grind down that mating surface. So we're gonna go ahead and put some blue tape on there, and we're essentially just gonna try to grind down this little nub right here. We're gonna grind that part down just a touch. And we didn't even hit the surface, so we're really good. We're doing good. We had to pull the coolant housing off in order to gain access to the area where this is gonna go, essentially right there. This will have a little bit of wiggle room right here. See how this right here can be clocked? See, that will change the attitude or the position of the end fitting, which makes the installation a lot easier. Pro tip, go ahead and keep this side of the fitting on the slave cylinder loose until you get this side into the master and nice and tight, or else you'll be fighting it for a few minutes before it starts to thread in. It should be ready for bench bleeding. There, drive shaft locked. Go ahead and push the clutch in. Oh, let it out. Push it in. Oh, it works. Barely touching it, listen. If we probably move the engine back a little bit, it might fit, but we're not gonna do that today. We're gonna go ahead and show you what to modify on this stock exhaust. Oh no, stock gasket. That's essentially what we're trying to do, is get it to flex away from it. We got this header here, it's all tidied up. So essentially what we're trying to do is we're gonna use this pie cut here on the end. Once we get this nice and flat, we're gonna use this to correct the angle at which it spits out. Since I took some pie cuts out of here, it kind of took the trajectory of the exhaust away from the steering shaft, and it kind of pointed it a little bit further into the motor. So we're gonna correct that. All right, we're gonna go ahead and tack in this little pie cut. You can clearly see how much room we got. See that?
Yeah. Yep.
This line right here required significant bending. I got a torch on there, a little MAP gas, a yellow MAP gas torch, and I hit it, and I was able to very, very, very gently move it around using a mandrel. So now I got it kind of done. This is essentially what it looks like. That's to avoid a fastener like right up here. Then it kind of curves around, and that's the end result right there. So that's what you want. And it's on there. Sweet. Tiny bit of clearance, but it's enough. It's enough to get it done. And now we can go ahead and put on the top of the compressor right here. This is the discharge line for the compressor to go into the condenser first. The last line we got to do is going to be this firewall line right here. This is kind of bent a lot. I got to unbend this right here, and we're going to sweep that out just a little bit more and kind of bend it there. 2008 to 2010 Scion XB firewall suction line. And then this is SC430 02 to 2010 discharge line coming out of the compressor. And then into the compressor right here is also SC430 2002 to 2010. And then that's gonna butt up to here with an adapter because it's only a 90-degree offset. So we'll see how good I am at doing this. And if I can, I will. If I can't, then I'll make an adapter. But I wanna avoid making adapters for air conditioning stuff. So here we go. All right, now we're moving on to the battery / grounding portion of it. This is the OEM starter wire off of an SC430. Gonna make sure the terminals and everything is really nice. You do have to cut off the right side terminal leg. This is to prevent it from rotating. And then here on the FRS, you gotta cut off the right side leg right there. See how there's a tang sticking up there? This clocks this whole system onto the terminal bar. You gotta cut that side off to where it goes down straight on top of it when this is installed. That I'm using to kind of couple this whole scenario in. All right, hose clamp, hose clamp, hose clamp. Don't like that at all. Bit better. Now we're gonna create these little ground straps. This is a ground strap system that I did. It's all one piece. This goes to the battery. This goes to the passenger side head on the back of the head. And then this side right here goes down to the passenger side frame rail. There's two different ground strap connections on the FRS. There's one on the frame rail passenger side near the in front of the suspension, and then on the driver's side in the exact same spot. And those both connect to the block and or head. So then we're gonna come up from the frame rail to the block, from the block to the alternator to the head. I made all this one piece to prevent having to do more connections than I need. That line, the trans line for the, I think it's reverse lockout. This line is shift select. And then there's another one right here, which is your ground. Right now, we're gonna tie in this ground strap wire with that OEM ground wire. I was so crazy about this that I made it all one line. hydraulically crimped and soldered, so it's never gonna come off. You could probably lift the motor up with this, depending on how strong this is. It's all one line that I kind of tethered together, just so the circuit's real nice and good. But anyway, we're gonna get this all grounded out real quick. This up real quick. Yes. Chat, we got the grounding dialed in. There's grounding on the other side of the head, going to the chassis. We got grounds everywhere. Grounds for days. Ground right here. So this part number right here is 87756 for the coolant line that kind of comes out, does a little 90, 180, whatever you want to call it, LS. They're just 90-degree lines, like that long. And those are going to go right into here where the coolant reservoir is, and then come all the way over to here to kind of get it done. Look at that, perfect. These are a new version of the version 2 of fuel lines. Uses an AN fit or a union right there. Uses the Continental 30-R line. We got it insulated right here. I'm not sure if yours are gonna come insulated, chat, if you buy them off the site. We can add this fire sleeve stuff if you want. Not necessary with the stock headers. We can go into the header, what we did with that here in a little bit. Yeah, I'm pretty excited we got that dialed in. This is the purge right here. It's gonna go to that VSV up there. These are the ones going into the ECU. We got plug C, E, and D. On plug C, it's gonna be pins 1, 2, and 3. These white with black wire. I mentioned that when we were in the back here of the harness where all the exposed wires. Connector E, it's wire 7, E7, and on connector D, it's E4. So the way that you do this where you can pull it back out is you take your strippers here, but you basically put it in here like this, and you kind of set it and pull it like that, and that kind of separates the wire. Then you get a pick like this, and you puncture the center of the wire like this to create a little hole. And that will allow you to kind of insert something into the wire, and you can kind of wiggle it to get a little bit more room. Then you take this like that and basically kind of pop that off like that. Pop that through just like this. Just like that. Now that we got that done, we go ahead and run some solder on it. So that's 1 of 5 grounds, and these all can go back to a spade connector at the battery if they need to. Now we're moving on to installing the converter. This is the CAN bus system that converts the analog signals coming from the OEM Plus 3UZ ECU over to the CAN bus protocol. There's essentially 2 ways of wiring this in. This new converter 2 has 20 different inputs and outputs. We're only going to focus on 9 that are absolutely crucial, and then you have an additional 2 to make a total of 11 for the manual transmission. The instructions go ahead and detail out. This is converter instructions version 1.0. Basically, the instructions tell you at the very bottom to tap into specific pin numbers and whatnot to get your 12 volt positive, switchable 12 volt positive. If you follow the directions and install it back here, you're going to need to run a few wires to this module in order to get the gauge cluster to see and read out everything that you need. So So what we have here, we finally finished up the OEM Plus wiring harness here. So this is it. If you want to come check this out, this is the FRS side. Basically, we went ahead and wired in this converter right here. This is the Link ECU standalone harness right here. Travis Flores made this harness in less than a week and a half. Me and him teamed up for I don't know how many hours on the phone, spreadsheets, etc., so forth to get this done. This is the easy button if you want to get this in, get the car running, not have to mess with emulators. You still got to set up the emulator. There's coolant temperature, which is THW. When you're doing this uses a 1993 LS400 single wire coolant temperature sensor. We'll put the part number in the description. All right, so we finally got the OEM Plus wiring patch harness done. This was quite a feat. This is probably why the video took so long to come out, was you guys wanted to see OEM Plus. This is a modified factory ECU right here. We went ahead and deleted immobilizer, auto trans. It's for a manual swap. There's no VSC. The red line's been raised on this one. This one is a very specific ECU. We went ahead and created a little patch harness to kind of get this. This is a power harness here, and then these are signals, etc. And this kind of wires into the E plug, which is right here in the middle, specifically for your alternator and your oil level light. This is how you have to do it if you want to retain the OEM ECU. Only connecting to the D and B plug from the FRS, the 31 pin D plug at the very end, and then the B plug in the middle. We basically ran the emulator off of the stock FRS ECU plugs here. These plugs were so hard to find. We're definitely going to sell these on our website because it was so hard to track these down. Okay guys, we got this really figured out now. So I put a relay in here. This relay is triggered off of, you could either do the gauge cluster power wire here, or you could do this cigarette lighter. In the back of these FRS right here, there's a cigarette lighter. And this has accessory power during key on. Key on right here, and there is, we got solid ground, which is great. And then during key on, we have 12 volt power. So we got 12 volt power right there. Turn key off, the power turns off. So this is a good source to then feed a relay right here, which could then feed two different things. It's hard to see. Basically, connector B has pin 13 and pin 26. Pin 26 on the A35-26 pin is the starter ground relay, and A35-13 is the HUT main relay system. It's very important that both of those get key on ground. They need ground. Okay, now we're ready to put the battery back in. That's in. Grommet. Everything's sealed up. We're really close, chat. We got the wiring for the coolant temperature sensor done right here. Last thing we need to do is put this in and do our checks. Good. Hit it. I'll take this. All right, just to show you guys that it works, clutch in. Starter forward. The last thing we need to do is right behind this panel right here, right in here, there is a fuel pump module. We have to bypass the two end pins. I got this stripped with a little razor blade. Fuel flow. Here are the fuel lines pulled off. We're gonna go ahead and key on just to show you fuel flow. How rad is that? All All right, guys, we are at the final part of the video where Link brought you this entire video. Big shout out to Andrew and George with Link ECU. Thank you guys so much for coming through. They went ahead and sponsored us with this G5 GT-86 plug-in ECU right here, part number 241-4200. We're gonna show you guys how to put this in properly. Tyson Flores with Florit Motorsports went ahead and made this beautiful Link G5 plug and play ECU. It requires you to move around 2 pins. Unfortunately, we've put a couple miles on the OEM Plus setup, and it is time to say goodbye to the OEM ECU and all the related patch harness wiring. This was the hard way by a long shot. This was very difficult to do. Oprah Built is gonna go ahead and make you guys an OEM Plus engine harness that plugs right into these AC1 plug and the AC2 plug to make it super easy for you guys to just simply buy our kit if you wanna do the OEM Plus stuff, put this ECU under your dash and just plug it all in and have it work with that emulator. You're gonna have to do a small amount of, plugging in the emulator accordingly. With that said, let's go back over here to the link table. Today, we're gonna put in the 3-bar map sensor along with this harness here. Anyway, you can buy this entire setup here on our website. It does involve an extra patch harness, but it's very easy to install. It's very intuitive. It just clicks onto your OEM FRS plugs, those 4 plugs, and then it goes right in. We're also gonna install the CAN Lambda sensors for both bank O2 sensors. Today, we're probably not gonna install the CAN 4-button keypad only because we just wanna get it running and driving today. So we're just gonna put the harness in, pull the intake manifold off, put this in, then we have to upload a tune. This ECU actually bolts onto the OEM bracket that we have here. Quick little thing, they supply everything you need in this quick CAN Lambda, obviously your CAN Lambda, 5-volt O2 sensor, your wideband. Then they get your O2 bung, a Weldon O2 bung, and even a plug, the Deutsch connector, other side of it. It is fully packed, ready to go, full instructions and everything on how to set it up, wiring, preferred, all sorts of stuff. Really dialed in, high quality products here from Link. Let's just get right into it. Here we go. You guys ready for go for a ride? You have no idea how awesome this feels. No check engine lights, yes, everything functions. Chat, I can't believe it's real. This thing is so fast. It is so fun, so reliable. We've done it with 3UZ FRS. It's awesome. Big shout out to Eric Coxe, Suncoast automotive specialists. big shout out to Link. Link sponsored this video. If you guys want to do this right and save so much time, just use their G5 plug and play, 241-4200. You can pick it up right on our website. Link in the description for the Link ECU for this swap. Also, huge shout out to Travis Flores. He made the harness for the Link, and Oprah built. Robert Stothart and his wife Jessica are also building the harnesses for the OEM Plus solution. This car is fast, it's fun. Thanks, guys. Stay tuned for our next video series. Like and subscribe down below. Big shout out to Steve, the camera guy. This guy doesn't get enough thanks. This guy is doing all the hard work, heavy lifting. This guy is working so many hours to make these videos look coherent and look very well prepared. Smile ear to ear. This thing is the real deal. It's so fun. It's so fast. It's very OEM. Yeah. Take it easy, guys.